Well, guys, let's focus on another formula now. Just to recap from the previous example that we did, there was an amount. Now watch this. We started with 1,000 rand at the beginning of the month. At the end of the month, we paid in another 1,000 rand, and at the end of the next month, we paid in 1,000. The interest rate was 6% compounded monthly. These are months, which is great, and we needed to find our accumulated amount there. And of course we did a whole lot of things. We grew the 1,000 to there, added in 1,000, that amount grew, we added 1,000. But the problem is, of course, if you've got a whole lot more payments. Now I'm going to introduce you to a formula that's going to do exactly the same as what we did last time. Now remember, the amount that we gained was 3015,12, or 03 rather. Let me just correct that there. It was 03. And we did it the long way. We did the grade 11 method of dealing with it, and that was great. But the question is, we've got a period of 2 months, 3 payments, but what if this gets more? How do we deal with it? We need something more sophisticated than what we did previously. Now there's a wonderful formula. It's called the future value annuity formula, and we're no longer going to talk about the accumulated amount, but we're going to talk about the future value of the investment. Now how it works, now this is important. The future value, it's given by this formula here, and I'm just going to clean that up a bit there. It works like this. X is the payment that you make. Okay. Into, now they give you this on a formula sheet, 1 plus the I as a decimal, okay, raised to the number of payments. People, that N is the number of payments, and we subtract 1. Don't worry about how it comes about. Your textbooks deal with this. But for our purposes, I want to show you, instead of taking that 1,000, growing it to T1, adding in, and then growing the new amount to there and adding in, we've got another formula. It works brilliantly. Now let me show you. It's called the future value annuity formula. And remember, this is the accumulated amount that we want. Now watch this. The future value, what are you paying every single month? The equal payment is 1,000. Great. No problem. Into 1 plus the interest is 6% divided by 12, because we're talking of months here. Now the important thing is how many. The N, this N represents the number of payments, which is 3, divided by the interest rate, 0.06 over 12. Now go with me and get your calculators out, and let's work this out. And if you simply plug in 1,000 bracket 1 plus 0.06 over 12 bracket to the number of payments, that exponent, subtract 1 divided by this interest. Plug it in your calculator, do it exactly as is, and you will notice something amazing. You get precisely the same amount. Okay, now remember, use your calculator, open the fraction button, go 1,000 bracket 1 plus 0.06 over 12, close bracket, raise it to the exponent 3 minus 1, divided by 0.06 over 12. Now remember, that N is the number of payments that you're making. In a 2-month period, you're making 3 payments because of this guy. Okay, if you didn't have this guy, there would be 2 payments. There's a 2-month period, but there's 3 payments. Okay, and that's important. Now, this formula called the future value annuity formula is absolutely wonderful. But remember that the X is the equal payments of 1,000, the N is the number of payments, and the I is the interest rate as a decimal. It's the rate. But remember that you take the 6%, divide by 100, divide by 12. And this formula is absolutely brilliant. Rather than taking the 1,000 rand, growing it, adding in the 1,000 and growing, okay, as you did in grade 11. So we've dealt with 3 payments, which is absolutely great. Now, of course, the nice part is that you can extend it to a lot more payments. Okay, so remember, we've just dealt with 3. So let's look at another example where we extend this a bit and see how this wonderful formula called the future value is going to assist us. Stay with us. Have a look at this example. It's the exact same one as last time, we put 1,000 Rand at the beginning of the month. At the end of that month, a further 1,000 Rand is deposited, and a further 1,000 Rand at the end of the next month. That's where it was. The interest rate will keep at 6% monthly. Now the question is, how much money would we have saved after 8 years of doing this? Now, what would the timeline look like now? Well, okay, instead of just going for 2 months, okay, now watch this. So there's your 2-month period. We put 1,000 Rand at the beginning of the month, 1,000 Rand at the end of that month, 1,000 Rand at the end of February, say. But we're going to carry on. Okay, so we put another 1,000 Rand in, but we go, and I'm not going to fill in all the months, but we've got a period of 8 years. And these are months. Now, careful. If you think about it, if you've got 8 years and you multiply by 12 months, what would that give you? 96 months. 96 months. So you're going for a period of 96 months, and at the end of the 8 years, on that 96th month, you make a final payment. The question is, how much money will you have? What is the future value of all these? Remember, you can't just say, you can't just add up all of those. Because of the compounding, you're making money. Now listen to me carefully. What is the number of payments? Now remember, over 2 months, you had these 2 guys, which is 2 payments over 2 months, plus the one at the beginning, which is now 3 payments. Okay, so if you've made over a period of 96 months, you've actually made not only these 96 here, but one at the beginning. So it's actually 97. Watch this. Over 2 months, that's these 2 plus the 1. For 96 months, you've made 96 plus the 1 at the beginning. So the number of payments is actually 97. Okay, be very, very careful with this. Okay, so important, people, the number of payments. So let's see how much money we've made. So if we use our future value formula, we start off with the equal payment, 1,000, into the interest rate's the same as last time, 1 plus 0,06 over 12, but now there's 97 payments. Look at this, divided by the interest rate. Okay, now the task is left to you. I want you to take your calculator and see if you can work this out. 1,000 into all of this, you plug it in exactly the way I've done, and you should get 124,442,68 Rand. Cents. Okay, so remember that's the number of payments. So this formula helps you to work out the future value after 96 months, a total of 97 payments, and instead of going 1,000 to T1 added in, keep going, that'll take forever. So this formula called the future value annuity formula assists big time to help you work out how much money you've saved, linking to compound interest. Remember, just let me re-clarify that. If how many payments are here? Say we go over 3 months. Okay, there we go. And if we've made a payment of 100 Rand, 100 Rand, 100 Rand there, that would be a total of 3 payments. But we always make one at the beginning when we save. So we make it at the beginning of the month, end of the month. There's 4 payments. In fact, if you look at that one, if you take the time period of 3, it's actually 3 months plus the 1 gives you the total number of payments, which is 4. Okay, and remember the future value formula works like this. It's the 1,000 Rand made every month. There's 97 payments. The interest rate, careful, it's monthly. They quoted you a 6%. If you look at the example, it's 6% per year compounded monthly. So you divide the 6% by 100 and then by 12. Giving you this. Now look at that. There it is. I think we need to explore another example just to make more sense of this. Right, let's look at another example. Lisa deposits 400 Rand into an account, paying 14% compounded, half yearly. That's that's twice in the year. That's every 6 months. 6 months later, she puts another 400 Rand in. 6 months after this, another 400. She makes this for a period of 9 years. Let's draw a timeline just to make sense of this. Okay, let's just see. Don't worry about all those words now. Okay, if I draw a timeline, remember we're going half yearly. So this is going to be a period, this is a period of 6 months. Okay, so she puts 400 Rand in at the beginning. Okay, she starts off, she puts 400 Rand into the account, and it's 14% half yearly, so it's twice in the year. Okay, alright, now once we've got that, no problem. It says 6 months later, which is there, she puts another 400 Rand in. 6 months after this, another 400 Rand. And she keeps going. Okay. And she does this for a period of 9 years. Okay. Now, if you take a period of 9 years, if we take 9 years and we multiply by 2 half years, remember it's a half year, that's a 6-month period. So that would be this whole thing from T2 is a year. So if you've got 9 years multiplied by 2 half years, that's 18 half years. Okay. All right. 18 6-month periods. Okay. So that'll take us up to 18 half years. Okay. And she puts her last 400 Rand in there. Okay. Now the question is, how much money will she have accumulated at that after 18 half years, which is 9 years? Interest rate is this, 0.14 over 2. Remember, 14% per year, but we're dividing by 2. So how does this work? Well, the future value is going to be, okay, what's the half-yearly payments? Every half year is 400 into, now careful, it's 1 plus 0.14 over 2. Now, careful, people. If we think about it carefully, what is that going to be? It's going to be over 6 months. Now go back to the timeline. Okay, let's read that again. Okay, it says she puts 400 Rand into account, paying 14%. We've sorted this. 6 months later, another one. And so she goes on. And now watch this. She continues for 9 years. From her first deposit. So 9 years would be 18 half years, 9 times 2. Now, how many payments are there? It's not only the 18. It's going to be what? It's going to be 19 of those. 19 payments of 400 Rand. Okay, so here we go. So in this we have 19, subtract 1, divided by 0.14 over 2. Okay, now I want you to try and work that out quickly, and let's see what you get. Try it in the calculator. I'll give you a bit of time to do it, and let's see what you get if you get the same as me. Okay, I think you should have got 14,951,59. Remember, that's the number of payments. Okay, the time period is 18 half years. Okay, remember, from T0 to T2 is a year. That's 6 months, 6 years. So if you take 9 years, it's 18. So be very careful with that, guys.